Good evening, boxing fans. This is the Radulich and Broadcasting Network live commentary. Tonight, we are providing alternative commentary for Vladimir Shishkin versus DeAndre Ware. They are super middleweights. It's a 10-round fight, and it's on Shobox. I'm your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And joining me on the analysis desk is Robert Winfree from 401mania.com. How you doing tonight, Robert?
All right. I hope this does not take very long. I don't want to be up all that much longer. I got stuff to do in the morning.
Your coverage though doesn't start until
No. There's no coverage Saturday.
I was gonna say our coverage. We're doing it more boxing tomorrow.
What the hell are we doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Kovalev versus Yard.
F my life.
Remember, there was that was the joke. See, you had no MMA coverage, so I'm making you do boxing because
I remember that. I don't remember agreeing to do it both days.
Well, look at your contract. All right.
You haven't. I keep asking you to send me one, and you keep refusing.
It's in the mail.
It is most certainly not.
So earlier in the evening, we had a super bantamweight bout between Arnold Hagai and Vladimir Tikhonov. Arnold Hagai won a unanimous decision. It was 8 rounds, 80-72. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, not an all that competitive fight.
But our next bout on the undercard of the Shobox series of matches this evening, Shohajan Ergashvez versus Abdil Ramirez.
Aren't you Jewish?
They are junior welterweights. This was supposed to go 10 rounds. It was finished in 4.
No. This was not supposed to go 10 rounds. They scheduled it for 10. That fight was designed to be a squash, and it was.
Yeah, and look, Ramirez got a pretty solid chin there, but after round 3, I think we both agreed he was done and just taking punches, and the ref finally caught in on the act and stopped it in 4. And so, as I said, we are ready for our main event. Vladimir Shishkin, who is undefeated with 8-0 and 5 KOs, versus Shobox regular, apparently, DeAndre Ware, with a record of 13-1-2 and 8 KOs.
DeAndre Ware, Mr. Shobox. In the professional wrestling world, 20 years ago, he would be Mr. Velocity.
Good old Mr. Superstars. So, Vladimir Shishkin is a 28-year-old Russian super middleweight, as I said. He's making his U.S. debut with a previous win over Ronald Ellis, which took place in February. No, sorry, that was DeAndre Ware, who had a win over Ronald Ellis in February. Shishkin last fought in October of 2018 in Russia. He beat Najib Mohammedi. I think I got that right. Woo! So, Robert, you're not familiar with these fighters? These are fairly new guys to you?
Entirely.
All right. So, asking you for analysis, how to win this fight. The expectation is that the Russian's going to win. This was pretty much set up as a showcase for him.
Well, considering how much bad ink there is on DeAndre Ware, he's either going to get squashed or he's going to murder somebody.
So you would, if you had to hazard a guess, you thinking this goes the distance for Shishkin?
He's what, 8-0, 5 knockouts? Ware is apparently somewhat experienced enough to probably weather a bit of a storm. Yeah, all right, I'll lean towards Shishkin, but again, I'm really hoping this doesn't go the distance.
Are you assuming, and we are ready to begin here, you're assuming Shishkin finished it before 10 rounds is up?
I mean, 10 rounds is a long time, and I don't say that just as, that's 30 minutes of fighting. A lot can happen, especially if you're an intelligent fighter. Or, given that it's a Shobox, wild brawlers.
All right, so as we proceed here into round 1,
Ware just gets taller.
Ware just delivered a straight left there. So that's the second time we've seen a Russian fighter push down on an opponent. In the previous fight, we saw Ergashev just throw Ramirez to the ground. Ramirez looked like he took a back bump. And then we just saw Shishkin pushing on Ware in this one. Not very sportsmanlike.
You're going to see a fair bit of that, I imagine. Just whatever they can get away with as far as what the referee will allow, they're going to take. And in all fairness, much as I have the ethical complaint about not abiding by the agreed-upon rules of combat, if the referee's not going to tell you to knock it off, hey, go for it.
Shishkin there delivers a left jab, goes to the body shortly thereafter. He's working working an overhand right now. Ware fires back with a few left jabs.
Ware looks like he's going to have a good few rounds in him, but I don't know. He's not seeming to me to fight a style that is built to last a full 10 rounds at the moment. That might change as time goes on. He might just be trying to set the pace and get inside of Shishkin's head. But I don't think he can fight like this for a full 10 rounds.
He keeps trying to crowd Shishkin. He's bending over. He's leaning on him. He just caught one of the back of the head because of that, though. He backed up Shishkin there with a pair of lefts. He keeps, occasionally Ware finds his way through Shishkin's guard. He's not doing too bad this round.
He's doing all right going to the... Both men have had some moderate success going to the body thus far, in no small part because Ware doesn't want to be that far outside. He wants to be in close, and if you're going to be in close on a guy with that much height on you, then Shishkin's going to adapt and go to the body instead of get all of his punches crowded and smothered.
Shishkin backs Ware up into the ropes. Ware
That was
circles
almost
away.
an elbow.
Hey! What was the martial arts that Fedor practiced?
Sambo.
Sambo. This isn't Sambo, goddammit.
Even Sambo doesn't really let you do elbows.
Would Muay Thai have been a more appropriate joke there?
Yes.
All right, I'll remember that for the next time he throws an elbow. All right. Pretty even round so far. Maybe a slight edge to Shishkin.
Maybe a slight edge to Shishkin. Yeah, I mean, you can already see Ware slowing his pace a little bit after kind of just a little bit more of a frantic, more frenetic start to the round.
Yeah, I would say Ware was definitely feeling Shishkin out. I definitely saw some aggression from Shishkin, but, by being a little bit more aggressive, he opened himself up to a bit of counterpunching.
Yeah, they're both still trying to really kind of get a feel for each other. Ware going a little bit to the Philly shell for defense, depending on the range they're fighting at.
Now, for people who are listening to this just to get their 10 minutes of Podcoin in, what is the Philly shelf?
Shell.
What is the Philly shell?
It's a defensive posture with your hands. There's a lot. I mean, everyone learns initially, you keep your hands up kind of by your face. That is the way you teach. But the more sophisticated you become at boxing, the more kind of subtle, or in some cases less subtle, guard structures there are. You can have the very low lead hand. Tommy Hearns popularized that. Floyd Mayweather used it very, very well to set up his shoulder rolls and his counters. The Philly shell is you kind of keep your head exposed. Your left hand is low across, if you're standing orthodox, your left hand is low across your abdomen, your right's over your chest. And you rely on head movement to protect your head, and you just have your arms completely over the front of your torso.
Okay.
And it's really, again, it's good at protecting your body. If that's your primary concern for the moment, then it has advantages.
So as we proceed into round two, Shishkin is on the attack, Ware pretty much defending, either absorbing punches on the arms or evading.
Yeah, I don't know what Shishkin felt in that first round, but he'll seem to like it because he's really pressing things now.
Yes, he is doing a lot of three punch combinations. Seems to be alternating between going to the head and body, which I like.
Well, Shishkin's also showing a lot of the lead jab followed by the hook to the body, and if you can start hooking off of your jab effectively in the course of a fight, you're doing something very right. And, I mean, again, both men are doing a really good job with the lead hand to the body. That seems to be a weapon they've both either rehearsed or just found an opening for as the fight has progressed.
So Shishkin looked to take a few punches from Ware there. I don't think he fears too much of his power because he just kind of let Ware tee off on him. Maybe he covered up a bit, and then once Ware stopped to reset, Shishkin pressed on the attack.
Yeah, I don't think Ware has the power to trouble him at the moment. I mean, again, if you get hit with something really hard when you don't see it coming and it lands just right, anyone can be in trouble. But as a generalized rule, I don't think Shishkin has a tremendous amount of respect for the raw punching power Ware's going to be leveling at him.
It was a right there that landed pretty cleanly. And then the left that knocked his chin up a bit. I have to say, though, Ware's doing a fair bit of counterpunching. He's not winning the round, but he's
not out of it by any stretch of the imagination.
No, he's scoring with the counterpunching. Shishkin's defense. That's the thing. Because Shishkin is pressing the advantage and being more aggressive, he's definitely leaving himself open to a quick counterattack. Ware's got some speed.
Definitely some hand speed. I think he has faster hands, all things considered, if they were to just kind of measure that. But Shishkin's doing a better job of measuring offense, of keeping things kind of just working in his favor continuously. Ware's starting to react a little bit to those lefts to the body. And considering that we're only in round 2 of 10, that's not the best sign.
Yeah, so round 2 comes to an end, and Ware kind of slumped away. Like wouldn't necessarily say he's gassed per se, but
discouraged if nothing else.
Yeah, that's a good word to go with. Discouraged.
Again, those body shots, they take it out of you. You get hit 4 or 5 hard times to the body, you just don't want to be there anymore, man. No, this sucks.
So I tweeted at you Robert Whittaker's exclusive T-shirt, which, because I guess he's mailing it from Australia, is $75 with shipping. I found another Bobby Knuckles T-shirt on Etsy for an appropriate price and promptly ordered one for myself.
Look, anything to support Sir Robert of Knuckles, okay?
I enjoy that nickname, Bobby Knuckles. I want to wear that around town on the days that I'm not wearing my Madison Square Taven T-shirt.
Yeah, look, one of those will get you hit in the face, and it's not Bobby Knuckles.
All right, enough talking about my wardrobe. We're in round 3 here. Ware's not out of it yet. He's flicking off a couple of jabs there. Shishkin responded, and now they're tied up. The ref breaks them apart.
The clinching has begun, and we're only in round 3. I mean, Shishkin does not look like he's going to be clinching to give himself breaks. He looks very well conditioned for this fight. He's not sucking a lot of wind. But Ware is clearly not winning with what he's been doing so far. So if he wants to try out that as an avenue of attack, I mean, if you're not winning at distance, if you're not winning the infighting, all right, let's clinch up a little bit, see if I can't get something going here.
Well, you certainly take away someone's power when you crowd them and clinch like that, and it gives you an opportunity maybe to dig into the body.
Yeah, and again, if you can get into, especially if you can kind of goad them into real prolonged infighting exchanges, and I don't think Shishkin's going to fall for that. And even if he does, it's not like his infighting has demonstrated thus far is bad.
I missed the tail of the tape here. I don't know if you saw it, but if you did, what was the reach on these two guys?
The reach was relatively close. It favored Shishkin by, I can't remember if it was an inch or 2. The real disparity is height, where I believe Shishkin is 3 inches taller. Mm-hmm. And so he's going to use the height to maximize whatever reach advantage he has in wingspan.
So Ware keeps doing the same thing, and I hate it. I mean, I know it has its uses in boxing, but he just keeps almost like bending over and charging at Shishkin, like he's going for a spear.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing you see a lot of fighters do when they're kind of... If they don't have a specific avenue of attack, let me specify this, because there are things you can do off of that if you're good about it.
Right.
If you're not, it's kind of the sign of a guy who's getting beat. He's just, all right, I'm going to clinch, I'm going to kind of push through here. I know I'm at less risk with my head in this position. It's not a very positive sign of how the fight's going for you if you're just doing that a lot without a real plan behind it other than I'm not going to get punched as much here.
Right. So I feel like Ware may have decided to change tactics here. It's like, well, I'm getting outboxed by this guy, and it hurts. So let me see if he can wear me. and maybe I can drag him into deep waters and see how effective that is.
That does seem to be at least part of his strategy adaptation. I don't think it's working that well just yet.
Pretty solid.
Oh god, his footwork is good. Yeah, look, watch Ware's feet for a little bit. Mm-hmm. His footwork's going away. He's coming up straight-legged a lot. His legs might already not necessarily be under him properly.
So pretty solid 3 rounds for Shishkin so far. And
yeah.
I can't tell while they're in the corner with Ware if he's heavy breathing out of the mouth or not. Because when I look to see, I mean, now his coach has given him some words of wisdom, I can see him kind of breathing out of the mouth. But so I'm not sure where we are with his gas tank, though I'm having my doubts.
Well, it's not just, one of the big signs of gassing out, of course, is how you breathe. Though a lot of guys do heavy breathing deliberately to try and maximize oxygen intake, even when they're not, necessarily gassed or tired. I think the more concerning thing for me is just overall, in terms of not just cardiovascular conditioning, but muscular conditioning of especially the legs in boxing. Because once your legs go out from under you and you're not moving properly anymore, that's really more so than just being, dead tired. If you don't have the muscle conditioning to really kind of keep your legs under you as you fight, that's much more concerning to me than just, I'm tired.
Right.
And I'm concerned a bit more about Ware's footwork and posture than I am about his, bending over and sucking wind while holding onto resting on his knees kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not reached that point yet with his cardiovascular conditioning, but he might not have all of his limbs at his full disposal.
We see more crowding from Ware. He's trying to fight close.
He is really not happy with how this is going on the outside. He's not even really punching his way in when he ducks in low like that.
We've seen a lot of grappling out of these guys. Unfortunately, that's the wrong sport.
And I would have very critical things to say about their clinch game if this were the correct sport.
Ware moved in on him. He caught a couple of punches left and rights for his troubles.
Yeah, look at Ware's legs, man. Just watch his feet as he's fighting.
He's standing straight up.
He's straight-legged. He's not moving well. By contrast, you have Shishkin. Legs still bent appropriately. He's still angling. He's still moving. Ware's kind of like, all right, I'm going to lumber in this direction now for a couple of seconds. Like, turning him is like turning a boat.
I think, Ware just caught some clean shots to the head.
Yeah, this is not going to... If this keeps up, and it looks like it's going to, given what's happened so far, I don't think this is going another 4 rounds. Yeah, the other advantage for the record to the Philly shell, which you see Ware doing a lot here. Again, the left hand is low and angled. The right hand is up high with the glove kind of by your face. Mm-hmm. If your arms are really tired, you know what? They can kind of rest there on each other.
Right.
I mean, I don't mean that. Again, plenty of fighters use it very, very effectively. Plenty of others kind of like, all right, I need to give my shoulders a break for a second, so let's let them rest here, and I can still have a bit of defensive protection going on. But yeah, he's not moving almost at all. He's standing very flat. Another 2 rounds, he'll be moving his feet together. He's already moving his feet together. Oh, God. That's the worst. Like, one of the biggest no-nos. Now, bear in mind, there are certainly circumstances when it's okay to bring your feet together before you step out. If you're L-stepping in particular, it happens. But it's just kind of a no-no to bring your feet together, to bring one up to the other and then step out. That's just, especially in open space when you have options. When you see a fighter in any discipline start doing that, their legs are kind of gone. So it's a really bad sign.
So we are moving into round 5 here, and I'm kind of with you. I would say probably within the next 2 rounds, maybe 3, we're probably going to see an end to this fight. Shishkin has to really turn it on, though. Use his footwork. Stop letting Ware crowd him and clinch. Because that's how Ware's going to drag this into 10 rounds. where, Shishkin should be able to finish it. So he needs to keep fighting at distance. He needs to use his jab. I'd also, at this point, when he finds an opening, like to see him work the body a little bit more. He started in the beginning. He seems to have...
He's gotten away from it the more Ware has forced those close quarters exchanges. He's not digging to the body when he gets in close, which is kind of surprising.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like he could bring this closer to a finish if he would dig into the body a little bit more, and maybe that'll leave an opening for those headshots. I feel like he's just headhunting now to try to get that knock. It's like, you got to put some work in, though.
Yeah, you see this all the time with fighters when they know they're winning.
Mm-hmm.
They stop doing necessarily what is the most successful, even in the same fight, and will just kind of headhunt a little bit. Keep touching, keep going to the body. You hear this from coaches all the time. Don't look for it. Just keep doing what you're doing, and it will materialize.
Right.
That's kind of where we are.
What I'm not liking from Shishkin's performance midway through this fight in round 5 is he's not breaking Ware down. He's just trying to throw power punches. And I'm like, well, this is going to get where at this point, because Ware's doing a fairly decent job of defending. He needs to work the body.
That left to the body has just evaporated for him, which is a real shame because that's what set up a lot of his success. And if you don't keep going to it, Ware can get a second win. That is a thing. So I do think he needs to do more of that. Now, part of that, as far as Shishkin, I might chalk up to inexperience. I'm not familiar with his amateur record, but this is his 9th professional fight.
Correct.
So there might be a degree of just inexperience when it comes to reading a situation as a fight goes longer like this. That will come with time, but I agree with you that as far as this fight in particular goes, not the most encouraging sign. Yeah, he needs to stop headhunting. He also needs to stop throwing just like power 1s and 2s and just, build a punch count again. Just wear the guy down.
Right.
No pun intended. It's not a Radulich and Broadcasting Network podcast if I can't work in a stupid pun.
Oh, this is quite the punny network. All right. Speaking of puns.
That's never a good segue. Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Ware just letting himself get backed into the corner now. He just doesn't want to move. Like, all right, I'm going to stand here and get punched. There's the left to the body again, finally. Now go back to it, you big dummy. Yeah, he's using the right to the body a lot more now than the left. He's dipping down, and Shishkin is firing a straight right instead of using the left because it's able to kind of slip around either the glove or the elbow, whichever defensive structure is in its way, more so than the left, which Ware seems to have scouted relatively well. But the left to the body would then set up more the left to the head, which would be a better punch for Shishkin to be looking for than just constantly the right cross. Dig to the body, then go to the head with the hook. It's a relatively fundamental combination.
We talked earlier in the fight that what Shishkin doesn't want is for Ware to bait him into fighting in close, and that's exactly what's happened. The story of this fight is that early on, Shishkin kind of gave up what was working, like we said before, and now he's in this tight, close, clinchy, dirty boxing game with Ware. And not to say he's not winning. He's still winning. He's still landing more punches.
He could be winning. This is not an issue of he's losing. It's an issue of, is this where he is fighting at his best? And the answer is pretty clearly no.
Well, these Shobox cards are supposed to be platforms for them to launch themselves into bigger, better, more accessible fights. And if you're watching this and you're seeing him so easily baited by a journeyman fighter, you're like, maybe you're not quite ready for some of those premier cards. Maybe you need to work a little bit more. Maybe you need to show up a few more times on Shobox.
Yeah, and again, a guy with less than 10 professional fights, good combination from Shishkin to start the round. Finally, combination work again. Again, a guy with less than 10 professional fights, there's a degree of polish that you don't necessarily expect to see. And he's showing a little bit of that. He's showing a lot of potential but he's also showing signs of a fighter who is still very young in his chosen profession, or if he had a long amateur career, an inexperience at the professional rank. Not everyone is going to be, Vasily Lomachenko in that respect, where, Lomachenko had a long, very decorated amateur career and then immediately vaulted into the world title picture almost immediately upon entering the professional ranks. So again, I don't know Shishkin's amateur credentials, if any.
Lomachenko, by the way, has a fight coming up within the next week or so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I love watching Vasily box.
I think it's on a day that might be next week, as a matter of fact, and I think it's on a day where there's just shit tons of wrestling going on.
Okay, more body work from Shishkin again. His coach probably yelled at him. And good for you, coach.
All right. Oh, God. So Ware is literally just standing there in the corner, not moving at all.
His legs are done. They've been done for at least a round and a half. He does not want to move.
Round 6 has been Shishkin's best round in a few. He really did some damage this time around, and Ware's really starting to wear down.
Yeah,
What?
Yeah, this is Ware's more looking not to get finished at this point than to actually win the fight.
But here's where I'd like to see Shishkin start changing it up, fight a little bit more dynamically. I have not loved his footwork in this fight. It's very flat.
It's been intermittently good, but yeah, if you just there's bits of it that have been really nice. There's been times when he's angled off very well in combination. He's been able to turn Ware a couple of times, but on balance, it needs a little bit of work.
Well, yeah, he's planting a lot to throw power punches instead of using his footwork to move Ware around the ring, get him into better positioning.
In fairness, at this point, a lot of that's on Ware just not wanting to move.
Fair enough.
Ooh, good right. Yeah, Ware's like putting himself on the ropes voluntarily at this point to have a bit of support for his weight.
Ware looked behind his coach while he was in the corner, and I think he was checking to see if his Uber had arrived.
Would that be the one he's picking up or the one he's picking him up?
One never knows.
Cab driver jokes, everybody.
And you could expect this kind of humor here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network.
At the expense of others. And ourselves more often than not. Yeah, Ware's done. His coach ought to stop this. There's nothing to be gained. He's not going to win. He's not going to land He's not going to land the miracle comeback. If you're not going to actually put yourself in a position to win the fight, there's no point in getting hit that often. There just isn't.
You don't think there's an argument for, hey, you're on TV, try to see this through?
If you're the fighter, sure, that can be your mentality. The coach's job is to protect you. If all you're doing is taking abuse, you're not really giving a tremendous amount back, your legs are gone, you've not demonstrated any ability to reasonably win the fight, you protect your guy from taking too much damage.
That's fair.
Now, let me be clear, I don't think we're going to see that. And to the counterpoint, while Ware is pretty clearly done, he's also not been badly hurt. Again, the fight that aired previous to this one, Ramirez was getting tuned up.
Yeah.
I thought his coach should have absolutely stopped that before the ref did.
Yeah, Ramirez was visibly damaged. So actually, I would not go as far as to say he has come alive, but he got some pretty good body shots in on Shishkin to start this round off. Though Shishkin has turned things around and has backed him once again into the corner.
The traditional 40 seconds of activity following your minute rest kind of deal. And if you don't find a tremendous amount of success with that to kind of galvanize your spirit, your body's just going to go back to being done. And you see that with Ware here. He came out okay, but he hasn't actually caught his second wind so much as, oh, hey, I got to sit down for a minute. Okay, I can do some stuff for a little bit now.
He's hanging on Shishkin again.
Yeah, Shishkin does not have his clinch game. And for those of you, clinching in boxing is an art form in unto itself. Shishkin does not seem terribly experienced when it comes to both fighting in the clinch and disincentivizing his opponent from actively seeking it, because that's all Ware's got at this point.
So we see Ware backed up against the ropes again. He's not trying to work his way out. Well, now he's circling, but for a while he was just kind of sitting there, standing perfectly still. And Shishkin took his measure, but he didn't really take advantage of the opportunity.
The downside of headhunting in this situation, because Shishkin does not seem to have the kind of one-punch power that's really going to put Ware on Queer Street, so to speak. And that just means that every now and then Ware's going to back up and sit there and defend himself, absorb a few blows and regather some energy, and then move again. And Shishkin, a little bit falling in love with the idea of knocking this guy out flush rather than putting together, the type of combinations and body work that would actually lead to a finish. The right to the body from Shishkin is still a pretty solid punch, but he's abandoned the left. His left hand is clearly not damaged. He's still throwing it all the time. But I don't know, I feel like he should have been digging that to the body more, because that's what kind of set the tone for Ware being on the back foot very early in the fight.
Ware at the end of that round looked like he was going to try to go for a double leg takedown on Shishkin. Wrong sport.
Yet another sign of just utterly fatigued and mentally defeated.
So, yes, Vasily Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell is next Saturday, the 31st of August, and it's on Sky Box Office. I haven't heard whether or not that's going to be carried on DAZN, but they tend to carry a lot of the Sky Box Office British fights. Unfortunately, I will be up to my elbows in pro wrestling that day. Most
of it not good, to be fair.
This is a hell of a day. You've got Andrade versus Zhang first thing in the morning.
First prelim starts at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 1 a.m. for me. That's going to suck.
Then New Japan, then NXT TakeOver, and then somewhere in there you've got the Lomachenko-Campbell fight. At 8 o'clock you have Arislandi Lara versus Ramon Alvarez on Fox, and while that's happening, you'll have AEW doing a pay-per-view.
Okay, you can pretty easily the New Japan card. That is the climax of the G1 tournament.
It's Royal Quest, I believe it's what it's called.
Okay, that might not be that then. So you've got that. The Takeover card will be okay. Most NXT Takeover cards are, but they're getting ready to move to USA, so who knows? We're going to get a bit more of the sports entertainment and a little bit less of the wrestling probably coming in. Because they're performance artists, Mark.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know, don't get me started. Okay, look, Ware again has a good 30 to 40 seconds coming off of the stool, but if he's not able to really get anything going, he once again pushes into the clinch and is back to doing what he's been doing for the last 4 rounds.
So just in the news while we cover this fight, Triple G is taking on Derevyanchenko on October 5th in Madison Square Garden for the IBF middleweight title.
Not a bad fight.
As I look at the calendar, there's that's the same night as Whitaker versus Adesanya, so there you go. I know what you'll be doing, not watching Triple G.
Yeah, much as I do like watching Triple G fight, I really do. But I cover mixed martial arts, so there is a priority there.
Yeah,
and in fairness, Whitaker versus Adesanya is about as good as it on paper as you're going to get. I'm not going to complain at all about even missing something like Triple G for that fight.
Yeah, I'll probably be watching that one too. All right, so we're in round 8 here, and
Ware puts himself in the corner again.
Shishkin is teeing off on him. Ware started. He wasn't necessarily going down, but he bent over and then clinched. He was definitely taking some damage there. Yeah, Shishkin is just hitting him. The towel just flew in. We're done.
Thank you, corner man, for doing your job. I don't mean that disparagingly. Thank you. I mean, look, DeAndre Ware may never be a world champion, but he's a human being with a family and people that care about him, presumably. There's no reason for him to take that kind of sustained abuse when there's no chance of a comeback. Protect your fighter. That's part of your job description. And Shishkin had just had enough of that too. He's like, all right, I don't want to be here anymore. And so I'm just going to hit you a lot now if you're not going to move and try to do anything back.
Ware is pissed, by the way.
Look, be pissed all you want, buddy. You were done. You know you were done.
Like, he's like giving all the respect in the world to Shishkin, but he looks like he's ready to just stab his corner man.
Again, he'll be pissed in the moment, but this is why you want to go. This is why you have that guy in your corner. You weren't doing anything. Your legs had been gone for 3 rounds. A better fighter than Shishkin would have hurt you a lot worse, a lot sooner. That's why you have cornermen, so they can make that kind of tough decision necessarily as the circumstance comes about. And he's going to be pissed, and they're going to wind up talking it out, and he's going to wind up being. I don't recall a tremendous number of times when that will result in a complete disillusionment of the relationship between a boxer and their corner.
Sure.
So again, it sucks, and he might. And again, I imagine a lot of his thing is I'm not actually being hurt by these punches, but there's no reason to take more blows to the head when there's no hope of you actually winning the fight. That's completely why that whole practice of stopping the fight, of the corner stopping the fight, exists. So good on the corner, man.
This is the argument that I've had with my father-in-law. He just talks about like the brutality of boxing, and I was like, if you start to take too much damage, there's a ref in there to stop the fight, or your corner will stop the fight when they say you've had enough, you should not continue. They don't do that in football, They carry your ass off the field after you done broke something.
Yeah, in theory, the fallback for football is, well, you have the rest of the team. You have players that can play multiple positions. You have multiple people ready to go for a different position as the game wears on, so you can protect people that way. They're just, not necessarily all that great about it, in no small part because some players are essentially irreplaceable. And that's you want to try and get them to the point where just before they break and have a season-threatening injury or worse, God forbid.
Not to mention the fact that in boxing you have the opportunity to defend yourself. I mean, look at this. I mean, they stopped the fight, and he was taking punches, but he was at least trying to defend himself. He was preparing to be hit. Whereas in football, there are so many opportunities to be utterly blindsided, which is where a lot of the injuries come from. So Vladimir Shishkin wins by 8th round TKO as we say goodnight here on Shobox. So let's go ahead and do plugs. What's the next couple of MMA shows you're covering?
Let's see. The 31st, I will have coverage of Zhang versus Andrade. And,
yes.
Oh, dear God. They did some of the press face-offs for those two. I'm not normally much of a style critic, but yeesh.
Well, I'll be keeping you company on
there's
that.
There's actually a bit of an open question about what's going to happen with Andrade in that fight due to her visible tattoos, because the Chinese broadcast authority, I forget the exact acronym because, hey, China, it's like 8 letters long. It's the broadcast authority of the People's Republic of China, the broadcast blah blah blah. It's stupid. They have a rule that they will not broadcast fighters with visible tattoos, and Andrade has several. So there's a bit of a question about how that's going to be handled. I would
imagine she can wear a bodysuit or a cover-up or something.
You can go with the rash guard, but that opens up other issues. Issues of technicality during the fight, certain regulatory bodies might not acknowledge the fight necessarily because they do not allow you to fight in a rash guard. So there's a lot of stuff that we're not quite sure how it's going to play out. But I will be covering that event from first prelim until sign-off. And after I've been awake for 4.5 hours, Mark and I will be doing live commentary, much like this one, as a watch-along for that main card as well. That's going to be, that's going to be something. The week after that is UFC 242. Khabib and Dustin Poirier are going to fight.
I threw my wife out of the house for this. So
that, ladies and gentlemen, is a heck of a card.
If you're into
MMA, Khabib Nurmagomedov and Dustin Poirier in your main event, Edson Barboza and Paul Felder in a rematch in the co-main event. And they had a pretty darn good fight the first time. Islam Makhachev and Davi Hamosh, if you're a grappling fan, that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, there's a crappy heavyweight fight to just ruin my enthusiasm. The main card is 4 lightweight fights and 1 heavyweight fight. One of these things is not like the other.
So while you're doing your written coverage, we'll also be doing alternative commentary for Khabib versus Poirier, the main card. So that'll be fun.
Unless things go horribly wrong.
Like I said, I told my wife, get lost, go somewhere so I can get this done. And she complied. So
I believe the week after that is Cowboy versus Gaethje, and oh yes,
that's a fun night of fights, man. There's Bloodsport 2, which now needs a new main event since John Moxley got the MRSA. You've got Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallace. And then, you've got your card, which is Cowboy versus Gaethje. And it's like, well, any one of those I want to watch. I'm only covering one of them because I can't split myself into 3 people. But damn.
So that's what's on the horizon for that. You can find me Sundays hosting the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast, your weekly look into the wide, wacky, wonderful world of mixed martial arts.
Have you claimed your podcast on Podcoin yet?
I believe so.
You did?
I think so. I'm not gonna have to double check that.
Do you have the little fire? Did they acknowledge you and give you the little fire thing, letting you know that you were the hot podcast?
I'm gonna have to double check that. So we'll deal with that after. That's behind the scenes stuff. But we'll have a look at that. So you can find me there. You can find me most Tuesdays on Damn You Hollywood. It's a movie review podcast that Mark and I do. Frequently now joined by Alexis Davis, occasionally other panelists when we talk about movies, the financial reality of movies, and why so many critics are so bad at their job. Because, boy, there's a lot of them.
And don't forget, Tuesday, September 3rd, you and I will be doing a TV party, for the last TV party for Hannibal.
Makes me sad all over again.
We'll
be doing Hannibal Season 3, one of my favorite television shows.
Yep, we'll have to figure out something else to do next year.
Well, next year we'll have presented us with more options by then, so we'll see.
Yep.
We should have a reaction to D23 that will be coming out in the next couple of days.
You will be doing a TV party with me for the Dark Crystal
Yes.
Age of Resistance. That's September 17th.
I don't know why I haven't tried. Oh, I know what we can do once Hannibal kind of goes away as an option for that. We can do. We might want to look into Mindhunter, which is a Netflix series about the actual foundation of the behavioral sciences unit at the FBI.
Yeah, I've actually been wanting to watch that.
First season, really good, apart from the girlfriend character. Second season, they get rid of the girlfriend character, introduce a different girlfriend character for a different main cast character, and it continues to drag things down. Oy.
Also, Thursday, September 26th, we'll have another TV party, this time for Disenchantment Season 2.
Yes. Which is still scheduled to be released, and I imagine I've liked Season 1 plenty. So you can look forward to that. Sadly, we will not be doing any sort of review for Invader Zim, Enter the Florpus, because Mark is a godless heathen.
This is true.
And what do you have this Tuesday? I can't remember because I know it's not a
Krypton.
Oh, well,
Krypton season 2.
Okay. It's got that show's gone away, thank heavens.
But there will be a special Damn You Hollywood.
Yeah. In the evening, we will be reviewing Ready or Not, the horror comedy movie starring Don Johnson and.
That's actually Thursday, the 29th.
Oh, Thursday, excuse me. Yeah, Thursday we will be reviewing Ready or Not. So, dark comedy horror movie kind of thing incoming, starring not Margot Robbie.
I had an opportunity to see Ready or Not today. I went with Angel Has Fallen instead.
You know, I kind of hate that you consistently do not let me have fun with our movies. Because the whole Has Fallen series, the first one's the best Die Hard movie in the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it gets stupid. But it's still kind of enjoyably stupid.
Yeah, I had a great time at the movies today. I needed to get out of the house. And
it's Hugo Weaving's daughter. I forget her first name, but yeah, she looks a lot like Margot Robbie in some respects.
Oh, I thought that was Margot Robbie.
No.
Huh.
Again, when I said not Margot Robbie, it's because I imagine that's how the casting director saw her.
So, you check out Robert's podcast on Podcoin. It's the 401 Ground and Pound radio show, or you can just go right to 401 Mania, and it'll be there in the MMA section. We'll be doing more boxing.
Recorded live Sunday evenings, not edited. You can, one exception. There was one time I had to edit stuff together because of technological issues. But other than that, you just get the whole thing. That's, again, fight analysis, fight previews, news breakdown from the week in the world of mixed martial arts. So tune in for that. Mark will probably drag me onto another boxing.
Tomorrow, Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde on ESPN+. We'll just be doing the main event there for our WBO light heavyweight championship bout. So tune in to check that out.
Feel the enthusiasm, folks.
This week coming up, we just dropped a Good Omens TV party with Al Sedano of the Resurrections, Thanos, and Adam Warlock podcast, and Jesse Starcher of Source Material. That was a fun discussion. We did a whole series of Swamp Thing shows this week. Saga of the Swamp Thing, Volume 1 by Alan Moore, the DC Universe Swamp Thing, and Sean and I did an on-trial for the 1982 Wes Craven film. We reviewed Thy Art is Murder. Next week, as I said before, we've got DC's first Superman Lobo, Krypton Season 2, Rage of Light Imploder, the Banana Splits movie will have been released on Blu-ray. We'll review, myself and Alexis Tanner will review that. And Friday night, myself and Jason Teasley will review Zombie Tidal Wave. And then
if I might want in on that just for the stupidity.
Sure.
Wait, when is that? Friday?
Friday the 30th.
Oh, hang on. 30th of
August.
September?
No, August.
30th of August.
A week from tonight.
Okay, I should be. I'm taking up some of the slack for Fridays for the near future for 411 Mania because there's a lot of wrestling and only one Larry Zonka. So now I get to be the gopher for the pre-recorded Impact Weekly wrestling show when he's like, hey, I've got 5 other things, all of which are better, that I need to cover. Can you cover this? Like, yes, I can.
And then finally, as he said before, he and I will be doing the main card for Andrade versus Zhang in China. And that pretty much wraps up August. We've got a slew of stuff coming at you in September. Not quite as much as we did in August because I overdid it. Just a touch. But that's okay. I'm going back to work soon and I won't be able to try to fill up my life with podcasts. In the meantime, thank you for checking out our live coverage tonight. We certainly appreciate you. We appreciate Robert for spending his Friday nights watching a Shobox card when he could have been doing anything else.
I would have been sleeping. I have some belt testing in the morning.
Okay, then. Oh, well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
And once again, thank you for checking out the Radulich and Broadcasting Network here on Podcoin. Remember to check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Radulich, that's Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.